In this, our final episode of the Hobson-Hoffman-Smith Family Legacy series, we will explore the lives of Grace and Fred W. Smith's children, Rodney Hobson Smith, who was born in 1918, followed by Barbara Barnard Smith in 1920, and finally Helen Margaret Peggy Smith, who was born in 1922. We will also explore the lives of Edith May and Walter Henry's children, Katherine K. Louise Hoffman, born in 1919, and Walter William Hoffman, who was born in 1922. Born on July 29, 1918, the first item on Rodney's long list of accomplishments includes being awarded the highest score in a healthy baby examination at the Ventura County Fair when he was 3 years old. The toddler scored 94.30 out of 100. Perhaps this distinction was a foreshadowing of Rodney's future achievements. Rodney was a bright and engaging young man who would excel in math, science, and music. He attended Nordhoff Union High School and graduated as valedictorian of his class in 1935. Rodney went on to attend Pomona College, where he participated in the Glee Club and graduated with Phi Beta Kappa honors in physics in 1940. Between 1946 and 1948, Rodney received his doctorate from MIT, married Janice Pettit, who had been a lifelong family friend, and settled down in Massachusetts to begin their family with the arrivals of Jeffrey Pettit and Janice Marilyn. In 1948, Rodney applied for and received an intelligence specialist position with the Strategic Air Command, which moved the family of three to the Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. Shortly thereafter, Barbara Helen and Gregory Hobson Smith were born. Rodney was responsible for confirming the capability of the B-36 aircraft known as the Peacemaker to perform its mission, which was considered the highest priority of national defense. During that same year, Rodney received the Exceptional Civilian Service Award and was made Chief Operations Analyst of Strategic Air Command. Through all of these achievements, his greatest priority was always his family. In 1961, Rodney earned his second Exceptional Civilian Award, but shortly thereafter made a big change, moving his family from Nebraska to Ventura to help with the family business. In no time, Rodney had adapted to life in Ventura. He managed the ranches, joined the Lions, joined the board of Ivy Lawn Cemetery, became director of Channel Island State Bank, and was a director of Ojai Valley School, as Grace had been. Rodney continued to nurture his personal talents and interests by consulting for aerospace companies like McDonnell Douglas. Rodney took on more responsibilities with the family business as Grace's health began to fail. On September 27th of 1968, Grace passed away. Though in a surprising turn of events, just 3 months later, Rodney himself died of terminal leukemia on December 31st, 1968. Barbara, like her brother Rodney, attended Ojai Valley School. In 1938, upon her graduation from Nordhoff High School, she earned the honor of Seal Bearer for scholastic achievement, maintaining impressive grades in her classes. Barbara went on to attend Pomona College, where she was a concert pianist, head of the archery team, and part of the executive council of the Women's Athletic Association. In 1941, her graduate studies would take her to Rochester, New York, to attend the Eastman School of Music, where she continued her piano performances and remained at the school to teach for an additional 6 years. During that time, she became a soloist with the Rochester Civic Orchestra and was known to openly share her performance abilities whenever asked. In 1949, Barbara moved across the Pacific to teach piano and music theory for the University of Hawaii Manoa's music department. Still in its infancy, it's said that Barbara revolutionized the field of music education. At that time, the vast majority of her students were Asian American, and they had a difficult time relating to Western music. Less than a year into her tenure, Barbara recognized that it would be up to her to learn Pacific East Asian culture and performance in order to teach the curriculum to her higher education classes. And learn she did. Barbara became a graduate of a whole new world that she pioneered. In the 1950s, she transitioned her complete class curriculum from traditional to ethnic music and incorporated dance into her curriculum. However, as much as her passions took her across the globe to experience other cultures, Barbara never forgot the significance of her family's history in Ventura and the importance of giving. In honor of her father, Fred W. Smith, who had passed away in 1981, Barbara donated funds to the Museum of Ventura County to permanently house their 200-piece collection of George Stewart historical figures. In the 2000s, after 50 years of service, the University of Hawaii Manao's leaders and students honored her with the Barbara B. Smith Amphitheater and Ethnomusicology Wing of the school. In 2007, Barbara became recognized and designated a legend when she was selected as one of the living treasures of Hawaii. During the pandemic in 2020, to honor Barbara's 100th birthday, the university created a 75-minute centennial celebration online featuring their contemporary music ensemble.
Aloha and welcome to this evening's concert presented by the UH Contemporary Music Ensemble. Tonight's performances are dedicated to UH Manoa Professor Emeritus Barbara B. Smith as we celebrate her 100th birthday. As the founder of UH's ethnomusicology program, Barbara's legacy spans far beyond just this university. And as you'll hear from many this evening, she's been a true champion for the study of music and dance from non-Western cultures, especially those of Asia and the Pacific.
Born on March 12, 1922, Peggy would prove to be deeply inspired by and appreciative of music like her sister Barbara. She, as her brother and sister before her, also attended Ojai Valley School and enjoyed participating in plays. Peggy excelled socially and academically. She loved the outdoors and traveling. Her musical abilities were evident from her earliest days, when she was inclined toward piano and percussion string instruments. Peggy excelled in all levels of her schooling, and her abiding love was the study of music. Peggy graduated from Pomona College with a Bachelor of Arts in Music in 1943 with high honors and began teaching at the college. She also traveled, joining her parents on their many travels related to Lions International, and was deeply intrigued with different cultures. In 1963, Peggy earned her doctorate in musicology at Indiana University. In the mid-70s, she was elected to the Claremont Graduate School Board of Fellows and earned a certificate in executive management at Drucker Institute at Claremont. She recognized that the financial security her family's business provided allowed her to share the gift of generosity with others. In 1995, Peggy was the first recipient of the Jane Blaisdell Award for her long-term commitment in both service and financial support to Claremont. She received many awards at the conclusion of her career as Claremont Graduate School Professor of Music Emerita. Peggy died peacefully at the age of 88. She lived a full, productive, creative, and generous life, and united with family members in the Hobson family plot at Ivy Lawn Cemetery. Born on August 17, 1919, Kay made clear from very early on that she was a social young lady who was filled with confidence, and she exhibited many indications of a natural-born leader. Horses were the passion of her father, and became hers as well. From birth, she was taught to ride and rope with the best of them. In 1923, at 4 years of age, an image of Kay on her horse was the cover of the official premium list brochure for the Ventura County Fair Association, when her father was president of the Fair Board. She was a graduate of St. Catherine's Academy and UCLA, and a member of Kappa Alpha Theta. In the 1930s, as Kay entered her 20s, she became a member of society by attending social events, such as the Ventura County Cotillion. Shortly thereafter, Kay met Bob Haley. On January 23, 1940, the two had a party in the Crystal Room of the Huntington Hotel, where they announced their engagement to a small group of college friends. Kay Louise Hoffman and Bob Haley married on September 7, 1940. Their daughter, Andrea, was born in 1943. Then came Robert Jr. in 1946, Roger in 1948, and Virginia in 1951. Home to Edith and Walter H., their children and grandchildren, in 1956, Rancho Casitas had to be demolished to make way for the Casitas Lake Water Project. The family set an example of graciousness by hosting a party for 300 of their friends to experience the property one last time before it and they would make way for the area's future growth and water needs. By the early 1960s, Kay had become a very astute businesswoman. She developed the Haley Ranch, called Rancho Mi Solar, after Rancho Casitas, where she bred shorthorn cattle and quarter horses. Like her father, she was a true horsewoman and continued active participation in the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association. The remainder of the 1960s brought a life-altering direction for Kay. She became involved in Republican politics, participating in the Ventura County campaign for Barry Goldwater's bid for the presidency in 1964, and was an alternate delegate from Ventura County to the GOP convention. In 1968, Bob Haley and Kay divorced, which turned out to be a renaissance for both parties and provided opportunity for Kay to begin making powerful political friends. Kay befriended Ronald Reagan, whom she tirelessly campaigned for as governor. Once elected as the state's governor, Reagan appointed Kay to serve a 4-year term on the California State Fair Board and to be vice president of the California Exposition and Fair Corporation. Kay joined the Board of Trustees for Community Memorial Hospital in 1958. By the late 60s, she was an active political supporter for Richard Nixon in his successful bid for the presidency. In 1970, Kay received the California Museum of Science and Industry Award for Woman of the Year in Agriculture. Later that same year, she once again supported Reagan's successful bid for an additional term as governor of California. In the late 1970s, Kay and her brother, Walter William, successfully turned their energy and talents toward building a new structure for the Museum of Ventura County, then called the Ventura County Museum of History and Art. The new building opened in 1977. Kay's interest, passion, and energy in politics, history, the Museum of Ventura County, and Community Memorial Hospital were due to her devotion to her family and their Ventura County history. Born on August 17, 1922, Walter Bill was destined for the life of horses, land, and sea. At an early age, he exhibited many interests and talents, and pursued photography with a passion. Walter was rarely seen in the early years without a camera in his hands. He had opportunity to travel the world on the Queen Mary and other ocean liners with his family, all along capturing images of foreign countries in the early 1930s. Walter's coming-of-age passage include an around-the-world cruise aboard the Canadian Pacific liner, the Empress of Britain, in 1939. His grandmother, Effie, who loved to travel, financed the tour and accompanied him on it. This trip greatly influenced him in charting a direction for his life, particularly due to the world being on the verge of war at this time. The ship was the largest ocean liner lost during the war by German torpedo just a year later on October 28 of 1940. Walter's formal education included St. Thomas of Villanova Preparatory School and the University of Southern California, where he became a member of the prestigious fraternity Sigma Alpha Epsilon. Walter was involved in the family's pursuit of ranching and horse racing. He also followed a calling to the ocean and became a proficient seaman at an early age. While at USC, he studied engineering but left school to join the war effort. In 1944, Walter converted to Catholicism and asked Sheila Bergen to marry him. But due to the war, their wedding plans were left uncertain. Walter was assigned to the USS Buchanan, where he served as communications, navigation, and executive officer. It was one of the most highly decorated destroyer ships in World War II, receiving the Presidential Unit Citation and 16 battle stars. Sheila and Walter were married on October 25, 1945. Walter's post-military career would be helping the family manage operations at Rancho Casitas. Walter and Sheila had 2 children, Kathy, who was born in 1946, and Carol, who was born in 1948. He created a new business by partnering up with friends, Other Vance and Bill Worthington, to make Hoffman, Vance, and Worthington. HVM handled agricultural management, appraisal, and consultation, often assisting widows, absentee owners, and investors to oversee their properties for them. He knew how to balance work, volunteerism, and family, ensuring that his personal life with Sheila, Kathy, and Carol would be one of great satisfaction. The ocean continued to provide Walter a great sense of freedom of spirit, and the family enjoyed outings together. In addition, Walter participated several times in the Trans-Pacific Yacht Race, which was a 3-week-long race from California to Hawaii. He also participated in similar races to Mazatlan and Bermuda. Faith would play a large role in his family. In fact, so much so that Pope John XXIII knighted him with the Order of St. Gregory, Knight Commander. This is an honor bestowed upon Roman Catholic laypeople who are actively involved in the life of the Church, particularly as exemplified in their professional duties. In the early 1960s, the freeway was coming to Ventura and would encroach upon the land the family had owned and used since the early 1900s. Walter, Bill, and Bob Haley worked together to plan a multi-million-dollar Pierpont Bay project to meet the needs of the growing population of the city. They also worked together to develop Marina Village Shopping Center to serve the new residents of the Keys. In 1972, Walter Bill and his sister, Kay, made a generous donation to the Museum of Ventura County, then called the Ventura County Museum of History and Art, that would provide a location and foundation to the museum their predecessors, William Arthur Hobson and Edith Hoffman, had founded. His obituary stated that what mattered most to him was his faith and his family, and his life bears witness to that. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of the legacy of the extraordinary generations of the Hobson family. The Museum of Ventura County's Bridge Builder Award celebrates the accomplishments of leaders who have made significant impact on the region. Those who have changed the fabric of our community, creating a new and better future.